Let's go over to the offensive line. And quite frankly, I've been finding it a little bit underwhelming going through some of the middle tier or third tier offensive linemen in this draft. I'm looking for diamonds in the rough, and there's a little bit more rough than there is diamonds. And I'm carving through the grounds, but it's just not really there right now. So this is one of the guys that is there. He may have risen himself up on the board as he was probably your workout warrior for the offensive lineman at the combine. 4.94 40, which is fast for them. 1.69 10-yard split, which is quick for them. The 3-cone, the shuttle, I think those were the best times or near the best times at the combine this past year. 6'4", 303, 31.5-inch arms, so a little bit shorter arms. He did play all 5 positions first and foremost with Wisconsin. So versatility, yes, that's what you're getting with this guy. Flexibility, yeah, that's what you're getting first and foremost. I don't think with his arm length he would be able to hold up very much out there on either left or right tackle. He is, I think, going to be an interior offensive lineman. But the place to think about when it comes to offensive linemen now is we think of linemen so much in a traditional sense here in Seattle because we've dealt with linemen for the most part here in a traditional sense for so long. I'm lined up opposite you. I'm going to get the ball hiked. I'm going right into the man. You're my defender. I'm going into, you are who I'm going to block. A lot of what the new blocking scheme is going to be based upon, though, now is, and this is what we thought we were getting the last 2 years, but we didn't really get it because they didn't have the interior offensive lineman that could do it. And so you couldn't really pull this off as much to run this as purely. We kind of fit more to the old schemes than anything else. Well, now what you're going to do is I've got you to block heads up here by appearances pre-snap, but post-snap, I'm going down to your defensive tackle partner over here. I'm going to go hit his shoulder on the side. I'm not taking him heads up. I'm going to be attacking him right here on his shoulder. And my job's just to be, I'm not even pushing him. I'm not driving him back. I'm pushing him and using his forward momentum post-snap against him. I'm going to pull back across the screen and hit a wham block on a defensive end who we leave unblocked off the snap because the tackle's going down to climb down to the second level. Or I'm going to ignore you and dip around you and get right to the linebacker. Or I'll double up initially on a combo block where there's 2 of us blocking that initial guy instead of it being a one-on-one that you might traditionally have. And then I'm going to peel to the second level and go get that linebacker. So the need to have a guy that's going to root up, take on that big 330-pound nose tackle and send him backwards is not as much of a necessity. The lack of arm length, which might have stood out for a guy like Tanner, where you go, man, I can only put him at center because he just doesn't have the arm length at guard or to do that. We know he doesn't have it at tackle probably, but he won't have it at guard either. But yes, you can do this now because there's not as much of the blocking nature built upon just one-on-one whooping your man up at the line of scrimmage. So much of it is that mobile-based, movement-based requirements, which this guy checks those boxes for. He moves very, very well in space, not just only moving as far as being quick and able to move in space, but also moving under control in space. And then the final point of completing the play, because you might have a guy that can get there quick and is under control and moving smoothly, but then when he can't land the block for his life, he's whiffing the block here, whiffing the block there, this guy gets down the second level and actually does land his block when he's asked to do it. He can do the combo block and slide off with pristine timing to get down to the second level, to climb to that linebacker and hit him. And it's just, he's got that good understanding of how to do it. So he fits to a couple of different positions. He gives you a lot of ability, at the very least, of a solid backup across the board on the interior of the offensive line. I think he gives you starting guard ability when we come to long-term, maybe even your center long-term, as far as him battling it out there with Oluwatimi. But his movement skills for a spread-based offense, I think, would be a real pure fit. And that's what you're going to need in the spread-based system. It's not the requirement of big linemen that go after it and then just absolutely are, big, just refrigerators that are built, I'm bigger than you so I can move you because you're smaller. Mass moves mass, like Coach Carroll used to say. It's not that as much anymore. It's moving away from that. Think more like the Denver Broncos in the mid-90s, when they brought on their inside zone blocking scheme and they started to go, you know what, rather than looking for 325-pound offensive linemen or 300-pound offensive linemen, let's get a lot of sub-300-pound guys. Let's get a lot of 290-pound guys, 285-pound guys that can move in space. And what did they do with that? On the back of that blocking scheme, of course, Terrell Owens had a couple of the better seasons we've ever seen from a running back because those guys were just, gnarly. Can't cut like you used to, which was a big part of that old scheme, but still, that's what you're going to be looking to do here with this new scheme. It's about getting guys moving in space.